What's up, guys? Ron Harris here, coming to you a lot later than usual. But something occurred to me today is now with Hadi Choopan in the USA. Yes, he got his visa. We know we're all very, very happy. He's here in the USA with his employer and probably still his coach, Hany Rambod. Hadi Choopan has been getting not as much love in the Olympia predictions as I would think he would. Remember that this guy has a track record that I'm going to put up here in a second. Oh, remember, guys, if you like the video, hit that like button. Track record here. Check this out. In the times they faced off against each other, 5 times Hadi versus Samson, they've competed together. Hadi has beat Samson 4 times to Samson beating him once. Hadi versus Derek Lunsford has only happened 3 times. Hadi's come out on top 2 out of those 3 times. And Hadi versus Nick, they've gone against each other twice so far at the Olympia, and Hadi has beat him both times. So I don't know why people have him as low as 4th, 5th place in their predictions. Why are people sleeping on this guy? Why do a lot of people think he has no chance of winning? Remember, last year at the Olympia, Hadi Choopan and Samson Dauda were tied after the Friday night judging. They both had 8 points. Hadi did slip, unfortunately. He ended up losing it was an 8-8 at judging, and then it was 6 points for Samson, 9 points for Hadi, 3-point difference. So he did lose the Olympia by 3 points to Samson Dauda. However, it was tied. So it's not like this guy is a slouch. It's not like he ever shows up out of shape. He's deadly. He is fierce. He is a warrior. And I cannot for the life of me understand why so many people assume he's going to get beat by Samson, Derek, and Nick. Remember, Nick has never beat Hadi. Derek has only beat him once. And Samson has only beat him once. So Hadi has beat all these guys more than they've beat him. I understand that people improve. Nick Walker's improved. Samson Dauda has improved. Derek, you could argue, has improved as well. But that doesn't mean Hadi isn't getting better himself. I want to show you guys. So Hadi arrived in the USA yesterday, I believe it was. And we'll take a look. He went from the airport, Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, immediately asked Hany Rambod to take him to the gym. This is the private gym for Evogen Nutrition. He wanted to do a back workout immediately off the plane. He had been in the air for 17 hours. From Dubai to Dallas. I don't know if there was probably a layover stop somewhere. There had been a flight delay. I think that was the connecting flight. So this guy didn't want to rest. I doubt he got a lot of sleep on the plane. Instead, he went right to the gym. And what is that dumbbell there? I can't quite read it. It looks to me like it's at least 170, 180 pound dumbbell. He's going to do a set of dumbbell rows there. And it just shows you, man, this guy is a warrior. He is fierce. He is not about to let anybody beat him. What's up, Zionic? Howdy, Mr. Olympia. Why not? You know, people writing him off as, nah, he can't win the Olympia this year. Why can't he win the Olympia? He's won it before. His Olympia record the past couple of years speaks for itself. 2023, he was a winner. 2022, he won. 2023, he was second to Derek. 2024, he was second to Samson. So the guy's either won or been runner-up the last 3 years in a row. So for people to assume he's going to slide down is ludicrous. I just don't see that happening. I just want to check out this amazing set here because most of us couldn't row this with all the rest in the world. This guy came right off a plane. I assume they gave him some food. Video is too long to watch. I see it was 200 pounds. Oh, well, I didn't listen to it. I usually watch these things with the sound off. But thanks for clarifying. It looked like a big ass dumbbell, whatever it is. I mean, personally, I worry. I know I shouldn't be worried about Hadi Choopan. He's a grown ass man. It seems to me he keeps up the heavy training all the way to the end. I see him with a Smith machine with like 6 plates on each side on squats. Just crazy weight. Hadi can win, but Samson were improved since last year. Agreed. We don't know how anybody's going to look until we're actually 3 weeks exactly from the finals. 3 weeks from tonight will be the finals for the Mr. Olympia. 3 weeks from last night will be the judging. So we're only 20 days away from the judging for the Olympia. Great job there, Hadi Choopan. Bring up some more footage of him. Here's how we looked at the last Olympia. And, you know, I understand that there's room for improvement. He can be better. When he's off, it's off by like a 1% margin. But we get so used to seeing him shredded to the bone that if he's just a millimeter off that, we go, oh my God, Hadi was off. Hadi's obviously surgical enhancements. What surgical enhancements, Brian, do you think he had? I get the sight enhancing. Well, I don't know if he's sight enhancing. I think he does have a tendency to put a lot of his gear in his shoulders. But like I say all the time, these guys are doing, you know, a good amount of volume of oil they have to inject every week. Where are you going to put it? It's got to go somewhere. Was Hadi still coaching Hadi this whole time? To my knowledge, he has not admitted that. If I was a gambling man and I was going to put down a few $100, I would say yes. Either Hadi has been fully coaching him 100% the way he always has, or at the very, very least, Hadi has probably been looking at his updates, FaceTiming him, checking his condition, giving him advice. So if he hasn't been 100% fully coaching him, I'm still fairly confident, very confident, I should say, that he's been advising him, acting as that second set of expert eyes that any competitor needs at the end, especially at this level. You need somebody to take a look at you and say, you're flat, you're a little bit behind, you're a little bit ahead. Maybe you should cut back on the carbs today or tomorrow. Don't do any cardio, do more cardio. Everybody needs something. Even in the shirt, that left shoulder looks pointy. We'll take a look at his stuff in a second. Yeah, let's take a look at his Instagram. What the heck? We'll look at his most recent updates. Because I'm showing you old footage. We should be looking at the newest footage. Go to his updates because that was Hani's page. Okay. So this was the last Physique update he posted 4 days ago. And, you know, there was that whole controversy about getting his visa was fake news because a couple media outlets on Instagram, they announced that Hadi has got his visa. And Nick Miller from Nick Strength and Power, excellent channel. If you don't already subscribe to it, you probably do. Nick clarified. He called, you know, you go right to the source, Hadi Rambo. He called up Hadi. Hadi said, no, that's fake news. We're still waiting to hear. So either one of two things was happening there. Either Hadi was lying to Nick, which I doubt, or the truth is he did not have the visa at the time. It was not secured. We said the posts were saying sources have confirmed, but how could those sources know anything that Hadi Rambo didn't know? So either Hadi did know that the visa had been approved and was keeping that a secret from us, or Hadi hadn't told him yet. I mean, obviously Hadi would be the first person to know if his visa got approved, right? So I don't know. That whole thing's pretty sketchy, but it's all in the past now because we have Hadi Choopan here. What we don't have is Beiruz Tabani, and unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see Beiruz. Sorry about the period. I'm not a clown, I swear. What'd you say, Brian? I didn't see the period. I don't. Oh, he janky. Period. He janky. Hello, Sassy Brian. Hashtag period. He's here to take back what's rightfully his. Yeah, I mean, if you've been following Hadi these past years, if you're anything of a Hadi Choopan fan, you know that he typically does get to the USA 3 weeks. I think one time it was 4 weeks. He doesn't need more than 4 weeks here with Hadi. And as far as Hadi coaching him or not coaching him, he's staying with Hadi. So he works for Hadi with Evogen Nutrition. He's a sponsored athlete. Even if he's not, quote unquote, officially coaching Hadi, he's going to be training with him, supervising his workouts. Obviously, he's living there. He's supervising his meals. He's looking at him every day, posing. So, in effect, he's a de facto coach, even if he's not officially the coach, put it that way. Which is great because, I mean, why wouldn't he? He speaks Farsi. Hadi doesn't speak any English. Hadi speaks passable Farsi. He's admitted he's not the greatest at it. That's why he always has that gentleman that works for him that translates if you ever see the interviews on stage or backstage. That gentleman who works for Evogen, his name escapes me at the moment. He's very fluent in both Farsi and English, and he assists with all the interviews with Hadi. But man, I mean, if we're looking at Hadi and trying to figure out, is he better? Is he worse? I don't know. To me, Hadi's looked the same for a long time, but that was a good enough look to win the Mr. Olympia in 2022, to win the Arnold Classic and the Arnold Classic UK in 2024, beating Samson Dauda in both shows, I might add. Did that cost him? Did doing those shows in the spring cost him the Olympia? That's the dilemma we're seeing with Derek Lunsford now. Is I don't know, but it's possible that doing those shows in the spring, the Arnold Classic, which he won, that was 500 Gs. Pittsburgh Pro is another 100 Gs. He won that. But will that impact his ability to get into 100% peak form for this Olympia? I don't know. Remains to be seen, guys. This all remains to be seen. DR says, Hadi's the most fresh, will beat his grainy look condition. Yeah, when you think about it, he has a massive advantage over these other guys. Over Samson, over Derek, and over Nick. Even Martin. They've all competed this year. Nick competed at the Pittsburgh and the New York Pro. So he was prepping, the whole early part of the year. He was in prep. Hadi was not. Hadi is the only one of this whole group of potential top 5 guys. If you want to say that, I guess we'll throw Andrew in there. But Andrew Jack has also competed this year. Hadi is the only one who is 100% fresh. Think about that. That does give him an advantage. Because even though these guys have time between shows, it's still, every time you prep, it's wear and tear on the body, on your psyche, everything. Prep is hard. Go to Frog says, I still had Hadi beating Samson, say he doesn't win at politics. I don't think politics are involved anymore. I really don't. I don't. They do rear their head occasionally, from time to time. But at the Olympia level, I haven't seen a politically charged or even implicated decision at the Olympia in quite some time now. Sam says, nice shape, all Jack's favorite Hadi pieces together. Yeah, genetically, I've said this many times, Samson Dauda has the best genetics out of everybody because he has that structure, the perfect bone structure with the wide clavicles, a narrow waist, round, full muscle bellies, just beautiful shape and aesthetics. And he's 300 pounds, ripped. I put a little asterisk next to that because I still would love to see Samson a little bit sharper, and I do think we're going to see that. Now, I'm not saying outright, Hadi's going to win, Hadi's going to win. That's not the title of this, but Hadi can win. And I think a lot of people, they're in denial of that fact. They're saying, well, Samson's definitely got it, or Nick's definitely got it, or Samson and Nick are definitely the top 2. Let me tell you, nothing is definite. Until that show, until those guys walk out Friday night, 20 days from now, we don't know who's going to look like what. Some people might be spilled over. Some people might be flat. You just never know. Better proportions. Raymond says it's only fitting Hadi's last Open Olympia win was with Derek. Ah, true. Yeah, he did Donald Pump. He better be top 5, Donald Pump. I'm saying 5th place. If anybody has this guy in 5th place, I don't know what you're smoking. Please send me some. I'd like some. Wrong with that shirt. Looks like he's commanding a Star Trek fleet. I hate to say this is my dog walking shirt. I'm still wearing it from walking my dog a couple hours ago because I don't want to get a jacked up farmer's tan, so I got to keep covered. Yeah, this is not the Star Trek logo. I don't have any Star Trek shirts. I'd like some, though. Top 4 is so interchangeable. Well, you know what? It should be the buzz because we don't know who's going to look like what. We just, again, these guys are all capable of beating each other on any given day. The top 5 can go many, many different ways. I do think Samson is the odds-on favorite. If I was gambling and someone said, you have to bet on someone, you have to, I'd probably put my money on Samson. I do think Nick has a legitimate chance, and so does Hadi. It's going to be a dogfight. That top 5 is going to be crazy. That's why when people were saying like Urs Kalczynski is going to be top 5, I'm like, guys, calm your horses. Cool your jets. Hold your horses. As great as Urs is, and he's still a work in progress as an open bodybuilder, I think with another off season, we're talking top 5, top 6 Olympia. Yes, for sure with Urs, or a very, very high likelihood. But this year, it's just too crowded up there. Samson, Derek, Nick, and Hadi. To me, that's the top four. It's like almost set in stone. I think Martin's going to look great, but I don't know if he's going to be able to beat any of those guys this year. I don't know. You never know. You never know. I'm not writing him off, or Andrew either. We don't know how Andrew's going to look. These guys are all great. That's the beauty of the Mr. Olympia. It's the greatest in the world. You put them all on stage together. This was 4 weeks ago, so this was 7 weeks out from the Mr. Olympia. Condition-wise, Hadi was right on track, if not ahead of schedule. He never, ever comes in off. If he's off, it's by compared to the best he's ever been. He's still in better shape than most of the guys on stage when he's quote-unquote off. Now, I will say this. He's shorter and blockier compared to Samson. Nick is short and blocky, but he's just a freak of muscle. And Nick's not as short as Hadi. I want to say Hadi's about 5'5". Derek's probably about 5'5". Nick, I give Nick 5'7". I'm going to say 5'7". Scotty. Safe bet Hadi is first or second. Beat me up, Jimmy. Scotty, yeah, man. Not a Star Trek fan. It was the dopiest show, but I loved it when I was a kid. The reruns. Hadi wins if Samson comes in too conditioned and lose that wow factor. It's not too conditioned. What the concern is with Samson is he going to be able to maintain his fullness while he gets into that condition? That's always been the fear. People say, well, the taller guys especially, they do have a tendency to flatten out easier. We see them like flatten out on stage while we're watching them. Like by the time from judging start to judging finishes, you can see some guys, and it's typically the taller guys, they'll flatten out, 10 minutes on stage. They start deflating. You don't see that happen as much with the shorter guys. You just don't. I don't know. It's one thing where there's one area the short kings definitely have an advantage. Versus not getting top five. I know you'd be surprised how many people are convinced. And I had people in the YouTube comments on one of the Urs videos. They were so angry with me because I don't have Urs in the top 5 or top 6. No, I don't. It would take a miracle for the Miracle Bear to do that well against. We just rattled off these names, guys. This is a tough show. You have 4 Mr. Olympias. I mean, you think even Brandon Curry, Urs can't beat. I don't think Urs beats Brandon Curry right now. Brandon just dropped out of the top 5 for the first time in 6 years last year. He's been either the winner in 2019 or he's been third, fourth place a few times, but he's still always up there. Donald Pump. What about Andrew Jack? Exactly. I don't know. Andrew doesn't post updates. We have no idea what Andrew looks like. I mean, he's always in a tight t-shirt or something. He doesn't even wear a tank top most of the time. We don't see his physique until the end. Persian Wolf. These are updates. I do appreciate the fact that while some of these guys have very little detail in their chest, look at that. Striations all the way across, like spaghetti strands on those damn pecs. The buzz says, I don't want to hate on Derek, but with how balanced the other guys are, they should stop rewarding his upper and lower body imbalance. I don't see much of an imbalance. I mean, I assume you're saying because Derek's legs aren't as freaky as his upper body. You could say the same about Nick Walker, though. Nick Walker's legs, they're good. They're still not as freaky, massive as his upper body is. So if you're going to point that out, we have to go across the board and call out Nick on that too. Regan Urs is an interesting battle for me. I want to see comes off better. I mean, they're both fighting for like 9th, 10th place, I think. If Urs cracks top 10 this year, that'll be an amazing, amazing achievement that he should be proud of and his fans should be happy with. I know you guys want him in the top 5, but you got to remember, he just started competing as an open pro. And yes, he did win 2 shows in a row, but he was up against no one who was a top 10 Olympian at that show. So he beat a lot of good guys. He didn't beat a lot of great guys, put it that way. He didn't beat any like top Olympia guys. Had he done that, then I'd be a lot more confident. And look at that back. Hadi's just one thick dude. One thick dude. All the way big dude, as they said in the movie Pumping Iron. One of my favorite lines. I like to repeat that. Even if his legs are full, they're still way small. I'm talking about Derek now. Yeah. Is Hadi definitely coming there, Ron? Yeah, he's here, Dave. He got here yesterday. That's why I didn't bother making a video. By the time I had an appointment, I had to see a coaching client. I had a physical therapy. By the time I got done with all that, the news had been on Instagram for like 3 hours. I'm like, what's the point of making a video now? Instagram is so fast. Everybody already knows he's here. So he's here in the U.S. He's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, staying with his former coach, probably still his coach and current employer, Hani Rambod, who owns Evogen Nutrition. That's his major sponsor there. And there's too many holes in his physique. I mean, I still think Andrew needs more hamstrings and more back thickness. It's the posterior chain with him. Hadi's already, yeah, he's here. He's here, God. Yeah, the reason I didn't state that in the beginning is I did actually state it, but I went right through it because I just assume it's been in so many Instagram posts. And the funny thing is people like, they will, as soon as it comes out on, Generation Iron, RX Muscle, Beyond the Stage TV, Who's the Best Bodybuilder, Bodybuilders Without Borders, Muscle Insight. When it comes up on all those outlets, I still have people DMing me and showing me this post. And dude, I'm thinking it's on like it's half my feed right now on Instagram. All I have to do is open it up and I can see Hadi's here. But thank you, I appreciate it. He has landed. I'd say the eagle has landed, but this case it's the Persian wolf has landed. Keep going. Yeah. I mean, Hadi is he's thick, dense. He's got that old man muscle, that crispy conditioning, just hard as a rock. Damn. I think Urs fans have higher expectations. Oh, yeah. I mean, even when Urs was getting ready for these last two shows that he won, he wasn't making any predictions of winning. He was just being very vague and saying, I'm gonna do my best. He wasn't being, I'm gonna win this and I'm going to the Olympia and doing top 5. That's not Urs. He wouldn't do that. And Boss wouldn't do that either. The Boss of Outlaw. I will be interviewing Boss of Outlaw soon, guys. We're just working out a day at a time. This conditioning is lethal. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a little bit sharpened up here. I mean, I know I do that to my photos on Instagram. But still, even when people sharpen up pictures and stuff, these lines are really there. The photo editing just makes them more clear. But you can't sharpen up, like these veins, those are there. The separation here, it's all there. It just is enhanced when they do the photo editing. But you can't take like I've been critical of Derek not having a lot of detail across this area, the shoulders and the chest and the arms. You can't do that with Derek because the lines aren't there to enhance. They have to be there. Urs not beating Bonac, Curry, Burton, Tonio, Goodvito, Martin. Yeah, dude, this Olympia is stacked. So when I say I don't have Urs in the top 10, I think, 11th or 12th would be awesome. If he does make top 10, I'm not saying it's impossible. If he does make top 10, it is a major, major achievement. I mean, we only have 19 guys in the show unless Beirut gets an invite. A visa. He doesn't need an invite. He's there. He's got to win. So God of Frogs remind us, Nick Walker, Lunsford, Fitzwater, Jack, Samson, Hadi, Goodvito, Brandon Curry, probably Bunnock going header. Yeah, I mean, those guys are all incredible. I mean, Brett Wilkin might beat him. I don't know. Akim Williams might beat him. Akim is no joke. Akim has been top 6 at the Olympia before. Andrew Jack, obviously Nick Walker. Regan's been top 10. I think he was 8th or 9th when he was in the Olympia. Tonio's been top 10. Sasan Haradi, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I know we're getting off on a tangent with the Urs thing, but I think Urs will beat Cheng Long Shen from China. I keep forgetting about Nexzilla, Rubiel Mosquera. Rubiel's a top 10 guy. I don't see Rubiel out of the top 10. And potentially he could be a top 5, top 6 guy. I could definitely see that because he's a freak. I'm not a huge fan of his structure. A couple of his poses are cringy to me. The front double bicep and the front lat spread and his front relaxed stance, just because of the long torso and the short legs and the thicker waist. But his side shots are incredible, ridiculous. His most muscular is ridiculous. He's a freak. Urs 10, 12. He should wait till next year. I'm with Sean Ray on this one. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is in life, you never know what's going to happen. You could get in a car accident. Somebody could hit you. It's not your fault. You're sitting at a red light. Somebody slams into you and, you break your neck or something. Who knows? Tear your pec or something, tear a quad, get a hernia. There's a lot of things that can happen to anybody, but an elite athlete, an elite bodybuilder. So you never know. You never know if this Olympia that you qualified for, if you skip it, are you ever going to get to the Olympia again? Most of the time, the answer is yes, but sometimes these guys never do. I can't think of any instances, but I bet there have been guys who qualified for the Olympia, didn't go, and they never qualified again. for whatever reason. Either they were sick, injured, or they just weren't as good. They had that like one-hit wonder shooting star type of career. I agree Nick has an imbalance upper lower as well. That's known and accepted with Derek. It's hardly ever mentioned. I mean, people are critical of Derek. With Derek, I think they're so busy talking shit about, they think his arms are full of oil. He doesn't have a lot of detail. There's other across the chest and the front delts and the arms. People harp on those so much that I think by the time they're done with that, they forgot about the upper body disparity, which I don't think it's awful. Do I have him here? I bet I do. Since we're talking about him, I'll keep him on screen for a second. It's only fair. Derek. Because Derek did win. Come on, Ron. I know you have it here somewhere. The problem with having a million videos queued up. Hadi wins Arnold. Oh, here we go. Here's Derek. So here's Derek at the Arnold. Now he looked better here. His legs looked a lot better here than they did in Pittsburgh a few weeks later. They'd flattened out just like they did at the 24 Olympia. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what the cause. I've never heard him even address it. Maybe he has. But some shows his legs are fairly full. They're still not as big as we'd like to see them, but they're not that bad. They're still pretty decent. But then when they flatten out, as they did at the last Olympia and as they did at the Pittsburgh Pro this year, he becomes more vulnerable to getting beat by guys who have better balance and proportions. Condition wasn't an issue with Derek. It's just the legs. The legs are kind of hit and miss. Sometimes they look pretty good, and sometimes they don't. I don't know what happens to this guy. Let's go back. I heard Hadi needed 2 seats on the plane. Well, you know what? I bet Hani, his employer, because it's such a long flight and because this guy needs to be getting good rest, I bet he sprung for first class. I'm almost certain he would do that. So he probably had a very nice, comfortable chair that went like all the way back, a nice recliner. The sheriff is near. Dave Thomas, it's great to see Nick on his mom. It's Fuad's showing yesterday. Sounds like she knows her stuff. It's good. Yeah, that's Tracy, Mama Walker. Yeah, Tracy and Lou, his dad. Seen them at many shows. Always talk to them. Nicest people. They're like my age. We're all around the same age, so we have that in common. I prefer today's Olympia to the old, having the same guy win time and time again. I agree. So think about this, guys. Let's think about all the Olympias we've had. So 2017 was Phil Heath. 2018 was Sean Roden. 2019 was Brandon Curry. 2020 and 21 were Big Ramy. 22 was Hadi. 23 was Derek. 24 was Samson. So we have had 7 Mr. Olympias in the last 9 years. 7 different Mr. Olympias. The last time anyone won more than one was Ramy when he did it in 2021. Of course, we don't seem to have these reigns, these 8-year reigns anymore, or even 3 or 4 year reigns. We saw Ronnie with 8 years, Lee Haney with 8 years, Dorian had 6 years, Cutler 4, but they weren't all together. It doesn't seem like there's anyone that's that dominant and consistent that can just beat everyone year after year after year. We don't have like a Ronnie that right now. I mean, Samson's very good. And if Samson does get that perfect balance between conditioning and fullness, and figures, how to replicate that again and again, yeah, I don't know who's going to be beating him. We have great guys coming up, but I don't know who's beating him. I mean, I talk about Keon winning in a couple of years, but if Samson really improves and gets that 100% package where he nails the fullness and the conditioning like we've never seen before, I don't think Keon's beating him, even with a little more size. It's just Samson's just a big dude. He's wide. I know the height shouldn't matter, especially as a short guy. Let's see. The one thing Urs keeps maybe placing higher is due to his status, so maybe it won't. Rubio, yeah. I don't think the social media following and how many Instagram followers or YouTube subscribers these guys have, I don't think any of that matters anymore. I really don't. Urs fans versus Hadi fans. Who will break the chat? Oh, that's a good question. Well, the Urs fans, if Urs doesn't get first call out, which I don't believe he will, they're going to be upset they're going to be outraged. So you're going to see a lot of cursing in Farsi and in Arabic in the chats. So I don't read either one. I did put a little bit of Arabic on the last thumbnail for Hassan Mustafa interview that I did yesterday. I thought more people would check it out because he's got a lot of followers and fans. And I was hoping putting the Arabic on, like, oh, hey, look, it's Hassan. But yeah, didn't get the views. Hadi fans, 100% will break the chat. Rubio Mosquera, 10th place. If Akim had a better back low muscle, like, oh yeah. I mean, Akim's physique, front shots are insane. Side shots, it's just the back poses. The back poses doesn't have the thickness and the detail that you'd want to see because that's how he looks from the front and the side. But boy, if Akim Williams had a crazy back with great detail, oof, he might be Mr. Olympia. Have there been any updates from Fitzwater? Yeah, I don't. Martin's another guy that doesn't get back to me. Nobody wants to get back to me. Rude. So I guess we'll check on Martin while we're all chatting. Martin Fitzwater. Let's see, how recent? Portugal posing? 3 weeks ago. So this was 7 weeks out. So these aren't recent at all. It's in good shape. I mean, Hadi at 7 weeks, a little harder, but you know what? The show isn't 7 weeks away. It's that day. Yeah, Martin has a hell of a physique, man. I mean, 4th place last year, and a lot of people felt he was good enough to be 3rd over Derek last year. Yeah, he's not doing any new updates. This was 8 weeks, 7 weeks ago. This was a long time ago. This is not recent at all. Should I check the stories, you say? All right. Typically, if they have really good pictures or videos, like update stuff, they put it in there. They put it in the feed. They put it on the page. The stories are generally for stuff like this, where they're just kind of shooting the shit. All right, let's go back to Hadi. Hadi Choopan. We are talking about Hadi Choopan here. He is the focus. Again, the purpose of this video is just because I want to recognize it. Hadi is an excellent bodybuilder. He's won the Mr. Olympia. Let me put this banner up again so you can see the track record. So that's the track record of Samson versus Hadi. Hadi's come out on top 4 times. Samson's beat him once. Hadi versus Derek. Hadi's beaten Derek twice so far. Derek has beat him once. And Hadi and Nick have only had 2 chances to compete against each other. 21 and 22 Olympias? Yes. And Hadi beat him both of those times. But, you know, those were Nick's first Olympias. I'm not holding that as an example of his ultimate potential. Obviously, he was 3rd in 2022, Nick. And, you know, he could win this year. I'm definitely not opposed to the argument that he could win. This looks like they've AI'd it up. But yeah, that's a hell of a physique. That's a Mr. Olympia right there. I got behind on your chat, guys. Okay. Did that. Okay, for today's Olympia, huh? I'm still behind. Okay. It was there. Okay, so the last was Richard Jones first mine. He's going to be the next big thing in the mid-90s. Yeah, Richard was a Boston, Massachusetts guy. Of course, I always have to mention that when there's a great bodybuilder from Boston. But correct, he was hyped up. He did have the structure, the shape, very, very similar physique to Sean Ray. And we all know Sean was one of the best for many years. Runner-up at the Olympia, top 5 in the Olympia, 13 years in a row, Sean Ray. Do you guys realize that? Some of you do, and some of you are like, what, really? It's a pendulum with Mr. Ono. He seems to be a little like Dorian Haney-Arani. Yeah, and, you know, we talk about the 90s being the most competitive era of bodybuilding. So we had Haney at the very start of that decade. Then it was Dorian for most of the decade, 6 out of the 10 years. And then we saw the rise of Ronnie, and Ronnie held it for 8 years. I don't think we're ever going to see that again. I could be wrong. I don't know if I'll live to see it. It might be like 30 years away. I used to much prefer it when we were waiting for the magazines to come out. Let's kind of take this out of the way. Yeah, I mean, you think about it now, Dave, and it's like, man, they have it so good now because all the information is instantaneous. The video, they can watch a contest live on a live stream as it's happening. The pictures are posted very, very fast. Even the professional pictures are sometimes up in 2 or 3 hours, which is insane. You know, back in the day, we would have to wait at least a month to see pictures of the Mr. Olympia contest, and we would be calling. I remember calling up Gold's Venice from Boston, or World Gym in Venice, or one of those. I think sometimes I would call a local gym and say, "You guys have the top 5, top 10 from the Olympia," and they would read it off. They expected these calls the morning after the Olympia, the gyms back then. So at the front desk, they would just keep the results there. So all morning long, they'd be answering the phone and telling people what the Olympia results were. But you know, we had to work for it, but it was magical. I mean, maybe it's because I was young, and that nostalgic eye, sort of that nostalgic lens. I see everything through that because it was when I was really falling in love with the sport. When I was a lot younger and I was just such a gung-ho meathead. Remember about the Meathead podcast every Wednesday night at 7, guys, the Meathead podcast. Me and Big Mike Cox. I'm going to hopefully get Lee Priest back on. Maybe Fady, maybe EP09, maybe, you know, I don't want to have too many people on because then people are just sitting around not talking a lot of the time. And that's kind of cringy to me to see like 6 guys on screen and one of them's talking and talking and talking. And some guys you'll go a whole hour and they barely talk. I mean, the host might see that and go, oh, by the way, so-and-so. So Hadi could slide down to 4th. Yeah, he could. Derek and Samson are capable of beating him again. The way Nick is looking. Oh, yeah, 4th could definitely happen. No argument there, Dale. No argument at all. It could very well happen that way. But I know a lot of people don't feel he has it in him to be Mr. Olympia or even like a runner-up anymore. When he was so close, he was tied with Samson after judging last year, as we said. And he beat Samson last year twice at the Arnold Classic, Columbus, and then the Arnold Classic in the UK. So each one is capable of beating the other. You know, Hadi's beaten all these guys before. He can beat them again. Not to say that he will, but it's possible. Hadi versus 0-0. Walker's density conditioning nightmare for top 3. Oh, yeah, Nick is, if you're a fan of just like pure bodybuilding, you know, crazy, gnarly, freaky muscle mass, just a beast, then Nick is your guy. It doesn't get any freakier than Nick Walker. You know, we've seen so many freaks over the years, guys like Big Ramy, Rolly Winkler, Nasser, Vic Richards. There's so many. I mean, Marcus Rule, Paul Dillette. I know I'm starting to go back in time. The point is, we've seen some freaky guys, and Nick is up there with any of them. You know, most of these young guys, I would say they're not at that level, but Nick is. So let's take we'll leave his Pittsburgh. This Pittsburgh Pro version of Nick was very, very impressive. Absolutely. And, you know, the fact to say that this can't win the Mr. Olympia. No, it could. Yeah, he needs to control his midsection all the time. Never let it pop out at all. If he can do that, which I know it seems like such a stupid little detail, so trivial, but in the end, that's what Steve Weinberger said cost him the Pittsburgh Pro this year, was that he, in that final deathmatch round because they were tied, you know, they had to basically pose till somebody dropped, and Nick was getting tired and he wasn't controlling his midsection. So nobody's sleeping on Hadi. He still has the most intramuscular detail of all the top guys, top 10. He's a Gold's Gym. Yeah. I mean, think about in terms of muscle maturity. In terms of muscle maturity and detail, Derek is nowhere near that level. Samson has nowhere near that level. Nick is getting a good amount of muscle maturity as what's he, only 32? He's still a young guy. But he's accruing it. I like that word. He's accruing it, but it's gonna be a little while. Hadi for right now is the only guy in the top 5 with that real grainy old man muscle, just like freaking bacon or something. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. How long have I been on now? Geez, 40 minutes. All right. right, guys. Well, in that case, I think I'm going to wrap it up because it's getting late. I haven't taken a shower yet, full disclosure. Take one last look at Hadi. This was Hadi winning last year's Arnold Classic, picking up a nice extra paycheck, which some speculate did doing those shows in March, the Arnold Classic and the Arnold Classic UK, did they affect Hadi for his Olympia prep a few months later? Just a tiny bit, a hair. And that was enough for Samson to get past him and get the win. It's hard to say. Yeah, we never know. I mean, there are some bodybuilders who were never able to look good at both the spring and the fall shows. Flex Wheeler was infamous for looking far better at the spring shows, particularly Arnold, which he won 4 times. And Dexter beat him with 5, beat the record for 5. But he had a track record of looking better at the spring shows and not as good. And Ronnie Coleman claims that nobody can peak twice in a year. I wouldn't say that. I would say that was his experience. Across the board, I have not found that to be true. But nonetheless, there is always that question of, if you're doing spring shows, is that going to impact your prep for the Olympia? Wouldn't you be better off, especially if you're already qualified, just resting up for the big show? But the problem is now we have some big money shows giving out really big paychecks. The Arnold Classic, case in point, it's going to be $750,000 next year. Who would in their right mind would pass up $750,000 if they thought they had a really good chance of winning it? So we're going to see a lot of the top Olympia guys at the Arnold. I mean, guys, it's a sport where the athletes still aren't paid anywhere near as much as in more mainstream sports like football, baseball, basketball, soccer, even ice hockey. Those athletes all make a lot more money. So they got to go where the money is. And especially in light of the fact that careers in bodybuilding are not always long. Sometimes you're only in your peak, at your physical peak as a pro for 2 to 4 years. And then things start going downhill. Some guys do maintain that peak form for a few more years, but you could still pinpoint to any of the top pros that are retired now and say they look the best for around this time. And it'll be like a span of 2 to 5 years, maybe. Let's put a cap on 5. And then after that, things started going south because the bodies break down. It's like nerve damage, just muscle tears. Body might not be responding as well to gear or training. Who knows? There's any number of reasons why it can happen. Go back to a couple comments and do a piece out. Brian says, if Cito cannot bring Andrew and Peel this time, it's just I wouldn't blame Chris. I mean, Chris is one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game. And Chris has a great track record of bringing many guys into excellent conditioning and winning shows like the Olympia and the Arnold Classic. You know, he's a very top coach. He's probably the most experienced at this point out of any of the people still coaching. He's, because he's been doing it the longest. Chris was coaching before coaching was a thing. Anyway, I wouldn't blame Chris because I think Chris is very good at what he does. Maybe they don't have I have no idea what their relationship is, but I was saying maybe they don't have the greatest communication. I don't know, but I know Chris is a great coach. And I'm not going to say, well, maybe Andrew's not following the diet or, I would never say. I don't know why they haven't brought Andrew in as great as we want to see him. He looks really good, but we're all looking for that extra level, that show where you're just like, dude, he really puts it together, just shredded, full, popping, with that giant frame and those bubbly round muscles. It would be a sight to see. We haven't seen that yet. Just like we haven't seen that really crispy, dry, grainy Samson with a lot of fullness. That's what I would love to see 3 weeks from last night. I'd say Flex looked his best in his legs for sure. Yeah. Even with Ronnie, you can say first 2 Olympias, 2001 Arnold Classic, his 3 best looks. We're done. Some people might say, well, the year he was 280 or 290 this, he had a little bit of a bubble gut when he got up. Once he got past around 280, his midsection was getting really thick. He was so huge everywhere else, it wasn't totally distracting like it would be on someone that wasn't as freaky big. but it was noticeable. And those 3 shows I mentioned with Ronnie, 98, 99 Olympia, 2001, he was lighter. He was right around 250. Right around 250 was a great look for him. He still had plenty of size, but it was just so dry and detailed and striated. You could see every little muscle fiber, kind of like when Heath was at his best. How I suppose he doesn't have his vision. Ha ha ha. Yeah, the controversy over that was that posts were made about Hadi already having his visa secured, and Nick Miller from Nick Strength and Power got Hadi Rambot on the phone saying, is this true? Can you confirm or deny this? Hadi said at the time, no, it's not approved. He doesn't have his visa yet. We're still waiting. So either somebody had a source inside the U.S. State Department or the Iranian, whoever's in charge. I don't know what the government branch would handle that. But anyway, guys, so that's it. It's going to be an amazing Mr. Olympia this year. Really looking forward to it. Hadi's going to be fantastic. So is Samson, Derek. So many great guys. Martin, Andrew, Rubio, Brandon, William. Oh, gosh. I mean, it's just a stacked Mr. Olympia. I'm here for it. And that's it. What we got? I can see Derek's legs coming off as well. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome Saturday night. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Oh, and stream.